Big announcement here, ladies and gentlemen.
What is that?
Big announcement here.
You're going to say hello first.
Hi. No, we don't. It's the beginning of the episode. We say hello after we start the episode.
We've already started the episode.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have a big announcement here.
I'm Liz.
My name... No, we don't do this part yet.
Yes,
I
we
embrace...
do.
Producer...
Young Johnson.
This is pointless right now. We have an announcement.
Then this is TrueAnon.
Hello.
Hello.
Cool. Now we've wasted 45 seconds of the announcement. We have an announcement.
Do you know how that everyone is cashing in
Yeah.
and writing all these articles that are like, oh, everyone's so lonely?
Yes. Do you think it's cashing in?
I don't know. Everyone's just
Aren't they
writing.
getting paid like $400 a pop for those?
Everyone is writing the same piece.
Yeah.
There's so much loneliness.
I'm so lonely.
No one. Oh, there's no more third spaces. Hey, newsflash, moron. The third space, it's called the phone.
I don't understand. For all these times, it's been like women are like, oh, I won't go with you to a second location.
Yeah.
Brace. But all of a sudden, they want a third space.
Yeah, they didn't say anything about the third location.
Get real. We are taking you to a second location, ladies and gentlemen.
We are the most second look. I don't know where I was going with that. No, we're so excited. We are doing a series of live shows.
Yes.
It's been so long. I've missed it so much.
Yeah.
It has.
It has been so long, and I have missed it so much.
Look at that. They are going to be in New York City. Can we, isn't there a song that we could put there?
Yeah, back in the New York groove.
There we go.
The East Frehley version.
They're going to be in New York City, 4 shows. They're
Manhattan.
Manhattan, bright lights, big city, baby, Upper West Side. It's giving Lincoln Center. It's giving Central Perk, although that was in the West Village.
Uh-huh.
It's giving...
The horrible tragedies of the events of September 11th.
Absolutely.
That was further down, but that was still... If you go down from the West Side, that's right where it was.
Yeah. It's, Columbia sleeper cells.
True.
It's giving Midtown Martini. It's giving, I don't know what else. But it's going to be at the New York Society for Ethical Culture.
In Adler Hall.
Which is all the way up on, 61st Street or some shit?
62nd
It's crazy.
Street.
It's right on the park. It's this beautiful old historic building. And we're going to be there for 4 shows this fall. The first one, we've got one on 9/11, which is, I'm just going to say that wasn't on purpose.
No.
But it is kind of crazy they did give this that show.
Well, they don't know.
9/11, October 10th.
October 30th, that's Halloween Eve, where we'll be interviewing Dracula. And then on 11/19, that is November 19th. All of these shows, ladies and gentlemen, will be different shows featuring different, very special, maybe even outrageous, crazy guests.
Well, you did mention Dracula.
Yeah, but people know that Dracula comes. What else are we doing? But they're going to be very fun shows.
I think so.
They're not going to be, I'm trying to think of annoying questions people ask. No, we're not doing this anywhere else. No, they will not be recorded. And yes, tickets will be on sale tomorrow.
Friday.
At
patreon.com/TrueAnonPod. We're going to do a little pre-sale.
At
10 a.m. Eastern. You guys can go get tickets.
There's going to be a little password. You got to look at the Patreon
if you
thing.
are a Patreon member, you'll get the email. You'll get the little pass key, and it'll get you in, and you can get tickets then. For everyone else, hopefully you don't snooze and lose, but there will be general tickets available Monday. What day is that? August 4th?
Yes.
The Monday
Look at
after
that.
this episode comes out.
No, that's not going to work. Monday, August 4th at 10 a.m. Eastern for everyone else.
Just to let you know, these are all going to be different shows. If you're like, damn, I love TrueAnon so much, I want to go to every show, be my guest.
Sure.
Well, not my guest, but
Well,
you know.
they would be our guests.
No.
We're
but
not their
mine
guests.
specifically.
Yeah,
That
we're going to
gives
be
me a certain
We're going to be there on
responsibility.
stage. It's going to be a lot of fun. We're extremely excited. You know, we always do it crazy. We always do it a little unexpected.
Uh-huh.
We're going to have a lot of friends with us. And I think we're going to put something real special together
We
for
have a
you.
magical evening together.
Look at that.
And that is the end of the announcement.
Jeffrey Epstein.
Jeffrey Epstein. Let's go shoot him. Jeffrey Epstein. Let's go shoot him. Jeffrey Epstein. Come here. Jeffrey Epstein.
Okay, so it's at this part, Liz.
I don't understand. We said that the cold open was going to be something else.
What?
That wasn't the cold open.
Wasn't it?
I thought we were putting.
I was like, oh, there's so many clips of Trump. We'll do that for the cold open. And we'll just do this at the beginning.
Okay, I see what you're saying. So you need to work on your communication skills.
I don't. I think you need to work on your listening skills.
What?
There you go.
I
Hello, everyone. We'll do it again.
Hello. Welcome to TrueAnon.
I'm Liz.
No, we don't need to do that part
Okay.
again, but we'll do it anyways. I am Brace.
And I'm producer, Young Chomsky.
Here we are. Hello, everyone.
Welcome to TrueAnon. Wow.
Did you have a nice little time on your little rumspringa?
I definitely had a nice time. For sure.
Yeah,
Yeah, I got to hang out with a pig.
sure. Baku is lovely this time of year.
Yes. I got to hang out with a pig. I got to hang out with some donkeys. It was.
How was the barnyard?
I'll say this. Anything can happen. Beyond your wildest dreams or most horrendous nightmares, anything is possible out on the barnyard. And that was really, really driven home to me this past week. Anything can happen to anyone at any time by anybody.
Yeah. Well,
out
safety
there.
first.
No, safety is out the window. The barnyard has no rules. It exists in a state of chaotic anarchy at the whims of these. I mean, there's a reason there's fences, right?
Sure.
But sometimes they get out.
Right.
And that's another rule. Sometimes they get out.
It's like Chaz, but for chickens.
Yeah, it's more about the animals that aren't there than, that's kind of how I feel about the barnyard. But I love the barnyard, rode some horses, did a bunch of other stuff that's none of your business. And, well, it's your business, but it's not their business. And yeah,
That's great.
I love the barnyard. How about you?
Nothing new.
Nothing. Nothing new.
Taking pictures.
That's always lovely.
That's nothing new too.
You know, a lot has happened while we were gone with our old friends. I was going to say Jeffrey Epstein, but it's not really about him. It's kind of about him.
It's kind of about him. I mean, he
But
lurks there.
Jeffrey, Trump, Ghislaine. One big cuddle puddle that is just exposing itself to the world bit by bit these past few weeks.
Just from off the top here, so we say Ghislaine, right? Because that's how it's pronounced. There's a lot of, I mean, again,
You can pronounce a name any
you
way
can
you want.
pronounce a name any way you want, and I'm not casting any judgment here. There's no aspersions, but her own lawyer says her name differently.
I know.
He says it like Ghislaine.
Yeah. I
And
think
I'm like-
that's correct. Because it's like the French.
Ghislaine?
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess it is.
I met someone with that name and it threw me completely.
That's got to be a tough one to have these days.
I don't know. I don't think she had any idea. French. I don't think any idea.
How did she say it?
Ghislaine?
Yeah.
Ghislaine? Yeah, I mean, I have the same problem. I hang out with this Mexican guy named Hitler.
Sure.
And he just is completely
Harry.
oblivious to it.
Harry Hitler.
Harry Hitler. Well, Jose Hitler. Yeah, but it's outrageous. The guy's a tough time too. There have been some developments. The first one, I'm gonna play a little clip right here.
Just curious, were some of the workers that were taken from you, were some of them young women?
With some of them.
Were some of them young women?
Well, I don't want to say, but everyone knows the people that were taken. And it was the concept of taking people that work for me is bad. But that story's been pretty well out there. And the answer is yes, they were.
Yes, they were young
Yeah.
women. What did they do?
In the spa.
In the spa?
Yeah, it's people that work in the spa. I have a great spa, one of the best spas in the world at Mar-a-Lago. And people were taken out of the spa, hired by him. In other words, gone. And other people would come and complain, this guy is taking people from the spa. I didn't know that. And then when I heard about it, I told them, I said, listen, we don't want you taking our people, whether it was spa or not spa. I don't want him taking people. And he was fine. And then not too long after that, he did it again, and I said, out of here.
Mr. President, did one of those stolen, persons, does that include Virginia Jeffrey?
I don't know. I think she worked at the spa. I think so. I think that was one of the people. Yeah. He stole her. And by the way, she had no complaints about us, as you know. None whatsoever.
Trump is so pissed off now.
I gotta say, he's so incredible off the dome.
So that was July 25th, right before he was boarding a plane to Scotland to meet up with Sir Keir Starmer.
Oh, he's been talking shit about Keir too.
He has?
Yeah, he was like, why are you...
But we love Keir.
He was like, I saw him say something about all of the deep sea oil available off the coast of England and how like Britain is, they need the money. Why don't they go out there and all this stuff?
Doesn't Scotland have the oil?
Yeah, I think so.
Keir, to me, Keir is very much like a Zoran Mamdani kind of figure because I feel like he's a very prominent sort of voice for socialism in the West. He's the leader of probably the largest socialist party in Western Europe, but also, he's the only socialist leader to govern in the West without a coalition government.
We were just talking about how we got to do an episode about all the insane shit that's happening in England right now.
Yeah.
To our friends across the pond, things are not well there.
No.
This is a bad situation you got going on.
Sick man of Europe.
I know. We got to break it down. I will say it's very funny. With all of this shit about criminalizing anyone who supports PAL, which is just like insane. Today, it was like Keir Starmer came out, if, Israel, we will recognize Palestine if there's no ceasefire.
Yeah.
Just, you know what I got to say? A man of incredible strategy.
He learned some negotiating tactics from Trump. But so Trump is coming out and being like, okay, there is an Epstein list. And it's got, who's got it? It's got on it. It's got Larry Summers on it.
No, I love that. He's like, why don't you look at Larry? Why aren't you looking at Larry? And
At
I'm
one
like,
point, I think
you should look at Larry.
He calls him Jeff Summers. I agree, Mr. Trump. Investigate Larry Summers.
Sure, why not? For all sorts of crimes.
Investigate William Jefferson Clinton. He also claims that Bill Clinton went to the island.
Yeah, he said that.
Which is...
We don't have that record.
There's no record of that. I'm not saying it didn't happen.
Yeah.
But it is very funny that Trump is just saying that he did it. I think Trump has kind of intimated that he did it before, but he definitely is just like saying it now.
Yeah.
I got to tell you, it's tough to read anything but Trump just kind of like bullshitting there. But
I love it.
I will say,
it.
I think that his support, I take it as far as you need to take it.
Everyone, keep asking him questions. Keep getting him to talk.
So we got to go back in time a little bit before. We're doing dates mix up today.
What does that mean?
We're talking about a lot of dates.
Okay.
Why are you confused by that? Dates, like a
You said a
time
dates
of
mix-up.
A dates mix-up. We're mixing up the dates. We're going, this date, that was July 25th, where Trump sputters about the Epstein list. And we're going back to July 23rd.
Oh, I see. A little Back to the Future situation.
Exactly. Call me Bumble. Sorry. That's, it feels mean making fun of Bumble.
I know.
You know what I mean? Because you gotta really need pussy to be on that.
Oh,
thing.
okay.
So, July 23rd, Trump, who said he had ordered Pam Bondi. Remember
R.I.P.
this? He was like, Pam, I order you to unseal the Jeffrey Epstein grand jury investigation stuff, or to ask for it to be unsealed.
Yeah.
That was denied, that request for the unsealing of the 2006-2007 grand jury investigations in Florida.
Which I'm like, I don't understand that. Why was it denied?
I don't know.
Isn't the DOJ in charge of the whole thing? Why would they deny themselves?
Yeah, I don't know. And this may be tough for listeners to hear before this episode, which deals heavily with a lot of legal stuff. I don't really know how the law works.
Sure.
But the judge said no.
But why?
I don't know, because I'm like, if he's dead, then it's not really...
And you can redact everything.
Yeah. There's a big FOIA case that's happening right now with a lot of the Epstein stuff that we're not going to talk about this episode. I'm hoping that there's some more developments there, or maybe we can talk to somebody involved at that before we do talk about it. And I'm like, maybe we'll get some information from that. But yeah, I found it a little odd. And certainly there's not any complaints from Trump's team being like, oh, damn, you won't unseal it? Oh, no.
Shucks.
So that same day, July 23rd, is when the Wall Street Journal published another report, that back in May, When the DOJ was going through a, quote, truckload of Epstein files, Pam Bondi told Trump that his name appeared in them. So we've heard a lot basically to this effect kind of since that initial birthday, or since really like, yeah, I guess since the first Wall Street Journal article dropped, but since it popped,
Pop, drop, and lock it.
that it's become very clear that like they've known that they weren't going to release the files for a while.
Yeah.
And they've also that they had a lot of people basically specifically looking for information pertaining to Trump so they could flag it.
Right. That's not surprising to me, but it is extremely funny.
Yeah. I mean, it's another instance in this instance-filled event, this sort of sub-saga in the whole Jeffrey Epstein saga of Trump looking so much more guilty than I thought it would even be possible to look.
It is crazy. It is a series of betrayals, I will say, like to his base, where it's like just a humiliation after another humiliation. It was like, he's got this cartoon that he made and this incredible scene that he wrote for his scene partner, which I was thinking about this. So I want to say this. It wasn't last episode, but the last episode we were talking about this, whenever that was, we were talking about the enigmas. I was saying that I didn't think that Trump wrote it. And I still kind of believe that. But then I was thinking about it and I was like, one thing about Trump is that we know about his love of theater.
Yeah.
Like very famously wanted to be a Broadway producer. Probably should have been. Loves the camera, loves the stage. Has a lot of ideas.
Couch.
But he's also like very wistful. Like there's always, do you remember that one moment? I don't know if it was like 2016 or 2020. I think it was 2020 because he was like run ragged then on the campaign trail, where it was like one point where he was like in the middle of his speech, it's like, I don't even want to be here. What if I just walked away from all of this?
He's talking about the trucks. Yeah. It's like, I could just get in that truck and drive away. I've had a good life.
Yes. He's like, he has these moments of like odd pondering about the like meaning of life. Like he's had it like slip before a couple times that are like, it's so funny to me. And so I was thinking about it and I was like, I could see him sitting down and like being like, penny for my thoughts and like writing something with both the like theatrical and like wistful edge.
Yeah. I can, he tends towards a very sort of saccharine sentimentality sometimes as well. I mean, he's got that wistfulness too.
Yeah.
It's sort of like idle pondering if things could have been different.
Yes, but also like about the impossibility of the passage of time.
Yes, but he's also got a very like again saccharine kind of sense of, I don't know, nostalgia or I mean, there's something there that I think a lot of people are sort of cruelly mistaking for gay feelings that he had for Jeffrey Epstein.
Or is that how people are reading it?
No, I mean, it's fun to read it that way, but I don't really.
I didn't read it that way, although Trump is obviously codes gay.
Obviously, yeah.
I mean, he's like,
but in the same way I do, right? Where like you're really desirable to a lot of gay guys.
No, you don't code
and
gay.
You're everything they want, but you just won't give it to
Trump
them.
is like a fucking queen.
Yeah, obvious. Yeah, yes.
He's like Liza Minnelli.
Yeah, yes, Liz. Yes. Speaking of, Kash Patel, according to the Wall Street Journal. Kash Patel, who is, of course, rumored to have lived with a gay lover in Las Vegas. He apparently has been going around, and this is funny because the Wall Street Journal just sort of added this as an aside with basically no other information. He's been just telling everybody in government that, Trump is in the Epstein files. Because, he can't keep his big fucking weird mouth shut.
He does
right?
have a big weird mouth.
Maybe he doesn't know who he's talking to. Each eye looking the other direction. You know what I mean?
He doesn't know which way those lips are smacking.
The CTE this guy's got. No, I hope he doesn't shoot up someplace in Manhattan.
Stop.
Yeah, it is.
That's funny that he's saying that.
So July 23rd, both of these things happen. Obviously, the Wall Street Journal that was like another thing they had up their sleeve. I still think they got some more up there, and I do think this birthday book is going to come out.
Yeah.
But we'll get to that a little later. That same day, the House Oversight Committee on Federal Law Enforcement, a majority GOP committee, voted to subpoena how do you say it? Subpoena.
No, you just subpoena.
Subpoena.
It's so I love it. It's always such a struggle. This one.
Subpoena Epstein files from law enforcement. And this is from Clay Higgins. And we'll talk about this later in the Ghislaine section as well. But he says, on the one hand, we do want full transparency on the investigation. On the other hand, we can't injure the integrity of that investigation by using blunt instrument enforcement.
What does that even fucking mean?
That's like some shit Clay Higgins would say.
It's crazy, like the hemming and hawing from Republican lawmakers because they have absolutely no fucking idea what to do.
So backed into a corner.
There was all these people were asking them, like, after Trump said this shit about Ghislaine and the pardon, all of these people were like, oh, but that would be a terrible idea. That can't happen. And then they're like, but also he does have the power to do that. Like, they just don't know where to fucking sit on this shit. It's so funny.
Because you have to appeal to your base who you've been like really riling up about this, but you also have to like make yourself amenable to Trump.
Yes.
And so you can't really go against the grain, but it's really unclear what Trump's position. I mean, it's pretty clear that he doesn't want this stuff out, but it's unclear like how far you can rhetorically go in agreeing with him or like following him.
Yeah.
I think a lot of Republican Congress and Senate tours are having trouble with that. So again, this is all happening July 23rd, and it's not looking good for Trump, right? He's getting a lot of negative press. This Epstein shit Epstein ain't going away. It's tough. And then, from the darkness of Hawaii, comes the one and only Tulsi Gabbard.
So I feel bad because there's no way to talk about this without going into a lot of detail, but I'm going to. We did an episode on Russiagate, some of Russiagate, a while back with Aaron Mate.
Oh, yeah.
Do you remember?
I do.
But it's not something we really covered extensively because it was so annoying.
That is like when I think about Russiagate, and I feel like a lot of Americans
It's quite
agree,
expansive too.
there's so much lore. It's like trying to get into like Pokemon or you know, or I don't know what else, like, or Digimon or
Wait, is that
one
the
of
same thing?
No, I don't. It's not the same thing, but I think it is actually literally the same thing, but they're slightly different.
I think you shouldn't have 2 or 3 Mons.
I think the Mon stands for monsters now that I say it out loud.
Oh.
Because I think Digimon, I remember it was Digimon Digital Monsters was the cartoon, how it went. But I don't, what is Pokemon?
Pokemonsters.
Pokemonsters? Anyways, Russiagate, it's like, it feels like you have to like, it's like I have to go to school or something.
Yeah, you got to go back to book 1 or something.
And it's not very interesting.
Although I did soften on the whole thing when we met Mrs. Mueller.
She kicked us out of her party.
No, but I felt bad.
But I felt bad for her.
I felt bad. And I was like, this is a nice lady.
I didn't feel bad.
That is you're being too sentimental.
No way. Go back. Listen to the tape. We all felt kind of,
I know, but
warm
now I've
towards her.
hardened.
No. She's just a squirrel trying to get a nut.
I'm saying she was right to kick us out of her party, but I'm like, come on.
Anyway, so
But you're right, squirrel trying to get a nut.
the reason I say all of this is because Tulsi Gabbard came out and said that newly declassified documents revealed there was, quote, and this is her quote, irrefutable evidence that Obama's, remember him, Barack Hussein Obama's national security team created the infamous ICA, Intelligence Community
Assessment.
I was going to say affidavit, but you're right, assessment, that they knew was false. Now, she said this amounts to treason, which I just would like to remind is like punishable by death. That's a very serious charge. This is what they said: a treasonous conspiracy committed by officials at the highest level of our government. Everyone involved must be investigated and prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law.
So just keep in mind, ladies and gentlemen, this happened on July 23rd when like all of the, like we're kind of almost at the apex of how bad the Epstein stuff is getting for Trump. And then Tulsi Gabbard comes out with, we're investigating Barack Hussein Obama for treason.
Yeah, we're gonna try charge him at Gitmo.
Yes.
We're gonna string him up like Hillary because we've already done with her. remind people that, Tulsi's in a bit of also in the doghouse a little bit with Trump.
Yeah. Yeah.
For all of this stuff during what I guess they want to call the Iran-Israeli war or whatever they want to
the American bombings of Iran. It's a listener pointed out to me that you can actually still buy Tulsi Gabbard "No War with Iran" shirts on Etsy. But there was a viral clip of her going around saying that the U.S. Intelligence community had assessed that Iran is not capable of making a nuclear bomb yet, and that caused a lot of. She had to end up eating crow over that, but Trump really threw it. He was like, "She's wrong."
Yeah.
And so she's been really taking a back seat since then. There's also a lot of reporting, I should add, that she's sort of just like not really doing anything in there. It's like a little bit of
which is crazy because ODNI does a lot of shit.
Yeah, agreed. But like that she's been a little bit sidelined both by
that's not
like the Trump administration, but also by the deep state.
Ooh. That's, this whole story, by the way, is so much about, if there's any way to like parse it, it's that the various elements within this thing you can call the deep state are at war. Secret war, underground war, frozen war. This is the thing that they're saying is happening in the polls. It's actually happening beneath the layers of our government. So I want to walk through this a little bit. We talked about this, whatever the last time when we were talking about this. Trump's DOJ has opened criminal investigations into former FBI Chief James Comey and former CIA Director John Brennan. Then Tulsi's ODNI had this huge meeting, right? And they said they had all this new info on Russiagate, that they had this meeting with members of DOJ and the President's Intelligence Advisory Board, and it seems like it's gonna go in the direction of appointing a special prosecutor to kind of basically put the Democrats and specifically Obama in the seat that Trump was in during Biden.
And you could see there's been sort of a lead up.
We've got a little switcheroo. It's Freaky Friday situation.
There's been a real lead up to this too with Trump, who has, especially since the Epstein stuff kind of reared its head again, has just been constantly hammering on Russiagate, or as he calls it, the Russia hoax.
Yeah. Russia hoax.
And so it does seem like a lot of this was like sort of put together in order to appease the president because he kind of needs a little bit of a distraction. But also, I mean, this was a big deal
of course
in the first Trump presidency. This is a big fucking deal. And Trump, who has, of course, gone through many legal, let's say, experiences since in the past decade, really does want revenge.
Yes. Oh, and the Russia thing is so fucking crazy. So what does Tulsi's office do? So ODNI puts out two sets of files. There's one, it's a 114-page document called Declassified Evidence of Obama Administration's Conspiracy to Subvert Trump's 2016 Victory and Presidency. And then there's another 11-page press release that highlights those documents in just like a full timeline. It's more kind of like illustrated. It's pretty clear and easy to read. And then there's commentary under all the different dates. So Tulsi is calling this the creation of the Russia hoax. Mm-hmm. And she had this huge flow chart where it goes from an intel assessment saying that Russia actors did not impact the U.S. election to Obama holding a secret meeting to, quote, plan the Russia hoax. That's what she calls it. And then deep state leaks to the New York crimes. She didn't call it the New York crimes. That's me. And then that leads us straight into Russia hoax.
So, Liz, what is the Russia hoax?
Okay. So the Russia hoax is a nickname for the narrative that the Russians worked to undermine Hillary Clinton, 2016. Remember that? Mm-hmm. Almost 10 years ago.
Wow.
Yeah. Isn't that fucked up?
Yeah.
I was 15.
And so, the Russians worked to undermine Hillary and influence the results of the election to get Trump into office, which is what they wanted. That's the Russia hoax. Mm-hmm. Now, I do want to say that everyone kind of believes that. That was the explanation for Trump's election starting in like December of that year.
Yeah, it was pretty quickly glommed onto.
Pretty quickly. And it's so much so that, I mean, I remember being at the Women's March. Yes, I was there in Los Angeles.
Really?
And it was like, of course. And it was like every sign was something about like, Putin and Trump like fucking and sucking or whatever.
Okay.
Putin and Trump are gay together.
Yes. And like, get the Russians out of, our politics. It was like the narrative was the Russians, not only did they influence the election so directly that now Trump is president, which it was just so incoherent if you just ask someone like, wait, you're saying that like Russia changed the votes and we're okay with it? Like it just like it was so crazy on so many levels. But it was everywhere in the papers, the op-ed pages, everything. And it also, seeded a lot of soft consent for like full tilt backing Ukraine in the Russian invasion. I mean, there was just so much anti-Russia stuff beginning in 2016 that just grew and grew and grew. Okay. So when they started this narrative, I mean, it ranges, right? It's everything from soft influence operations to direct cyber attacks on critical election systems, which is quite the claim. So Odie and I put together this timeline showing repeated assessments beginning before the election, like around August 31st. All these different offices, including like DHS, FBI, CIA, DNI, like all of them are putting these different assessments, and they're all very similar to varying degrees, and they just say there's no indication that there's a Russian threat to directly manipulate the vote count. And that's so they're looking at it. Then after the election, December 7th, 2016, the IC put together a PDB, which is the Presidential Daily Briefing.
Patrick Bet David.
On whether or not there were cyber attacks on the election that swayed these results. So Clapper's office has a memo that is based off the PDB that says, this is a quote, "Foreign adversaries did not use cyber attacks on election infrastructure to alter the U.S. presidential election outcome. And," this is another quote, "we have no evidence of cyber manipulation of election infrastructure intended to alter results," right? Okay, so that's what they put together. There's like other emails discussing the PDB in a similar way that say Russian and criminal actors did not impact recent U.S. election results. That's what they're saying. Then the FBI email, there's like FBI emails. The names are redacted in the files that were released, but there's FBI emails that say, "We are drafting a dissent to this. Please remove our seal, like the FBI seal, and any like annotations of co-authorship. We don't agree." So the FBI, which again, remember, was headed by James Comey, is saying like, nope, not us. We're not on board with this assessment. So the PDB gets pushed back inexplicably. It says like, oh, there's new guidance, and it ends up never getting published.
Yeah.
2 days later, there's a meeting I can't believe we're fucking talking about Russiagate, but it's fine. 2 days later, there's a meeting at the White House in the Situation Room with Clapper, Brennan, Susan Rice, John Kerry, Brian McKinnon, who was at DOD, Loretta Lynch from, she was DOJ under Obama, Andrew McCabe from the FBI, and like some other people. And after the meeting, Clapper's assistant sends an email to ODNI leaders and says, okay, we need to make an assessment per the president's request. And the people involved are going to be ODNI, CIA, FBI, NSA, and DHS. So that makes it clear that, the president is requesting this for them all to put together an assessment of whether or not, the Russians influenced the election, even though there was a previous assessment that said they didn't.
Yeah.
Okay? This is why they're saying this came directly from Obama.
Yeah.
Tulsi's office also points out that the same day as that meeting, the Washington Post published a story that says, quote, "The CIA has concluded in a secret assessment that Russia intervened in the 2016 election to help Donald Trump win the presidency rather than just undermine confidence in the U.S. electoral system, according to officials briefed on the matter." So they're trying to put together this case that this was like a coordinated kind of like push, okay, coming directly from, I mean, I guess they're going to say the executive.
Yeah, from Obama.
Now, the major issue that they're all talking about is the 2017 ICA report, which came out on January 6th, which is fucking insane. We don't talk about that enough.
It's really him getting it in on the basically the last day.
I know, but it's also like, man, what a day.
Yeah.
The 9/11 of whatever
it really
this is.
Of January 6th.
Sure. So we've talked a little bit about the ICA report. We gotta just get into this a little bit more. It's called Assessing Russian Activities and Intention in Recent U.S. Elections. It is a declassified version of a highly classified assessment that has been provided to the president and to recipients approved by the president. I just thought this quote was really funny because it sounds like Law and Order or something, but this is what they say. The nature of cyberspace makes attribution of cyber operations difficult, but not impossible. Every kind of cyber operation, malicious or not, leaves a trail. Doesn't it sound like the kind of beginning of and these are the cyber crimes?
Yes. Yeah.
So this whole thing says that Putin, quote, ordered, which is a strong word, ordered an influence campaign in 2016 to, quote, undermine public faith in the U.S. democratic process, denigrate Secretary Clinton, and harm her electability and potential presidency. It goes on and says that Putin had a preference for Trump and helped all of his, all these, helped him in all these ways to get him into the office, and that Putin had, damaging DNC emails.
Yeah, including ones that said Hillary Clinton suffered from, quote, psycho-emotional problems, uncontrolled fits of anger, aggression, and cheerfulness. Clinton was alleged to be on a daily regimen of heavy tranquilizers, and while she was afraid of losing, she remained, quote, obsessed with a thirst for power.
I mean, I believe all of that.
I know, but it's so...
Remember when she fainted?
One of the big... Yeah, but it was hot out that day.
She was fucking tranked up, dude.
I almost fainted that day, too.
She was tranked.
Faint. She wasn't... You don't have to be tranked to faint. What if you see something scary?
I don't think she did. It was such a great little wobble and fall.
Oh, I know, they caught her. Imagine if she actually fell to the
face
ground.
planted.
Oof. Yeah, she would have lost the election, I think. But it's their big contention is that they're not even saying that the Russians didn't do anything. They're like, the Russians did stuff. But you're lying by saying it was trying to help Trump. They were just fucking around in general. That's kind of what Tulsi's contention is, as far as I can tell.
Well, they're saying that the proof that the Russians did I think it's a little bit more than that. They're saying, one, the proof that this came directly from Putin himself is not there.
Yeah.
Because it's one thing to say there were Russian actors, hackers or influence operations, and that it was state directed. It's those are totally different things. They're also saying that, yes, that the evidence supporting those claims is completely, I would say, controversial is even too far. That it's very thin. So it's the claim that is true is only really supported by 4 pieces of evidence. This is what they say. One is the Steele dossier, which everyone knows, P-tape, which was discredited even before Mueller, but the Mueller investigation kind of revealed and insisted too about how the sourcing on that was so thin, which is putting it mildly. It was really salacious. It was a fucking it was almost fanfic, It's kind of absurd. One of the other pieces of evidence was a human source intelligence report. And this is a quote from it. It said, Putin has made this decision. This is talking about leaking the DNC emails, which is, so that's a kind of, again, a separate thing from attacking infrastructure or whatever. But leaking the DNC emails, which is, again, it's not even clear that came from there. But after he had come to believe that the Democratic nominee had better odds of winning the U.S. presidential election and that Trump, whose victory Putin was counting on, most likely would not be able to pull off a convincing victory. So this is where it gets really granular. But you know what? We're all here. We're all going to do it together. 5 different CIA officers interpreted that quote, which was from a human source intelligence report. They interpreted that quote 5 different ways. So this is according to the HPSCI report. This is actually the quote. They said, "We don't know what was meant by that," which technically shouldn't be a problem, because what you can do in these reports is you just say, we have all these different interpretations, and you list the different interpretations, but the ICA didn't do that. The line that they don't agree on is whose victory Putin was counting on. So the HPSCI report says that they had other interpretations of that line, that it meant expecting, like he was expecting his win, because this was coming before the Republican National Convention. And so it was in context of him clinching the nomination. And some of that is because there were active efforts. I don't know if people remember this, but this is true. There were like a lot of active efforts to deny Trump the majority of delegates at the time. And like people were floating all of these different ways that they could like undermine him at the convention. And, oh, maybe there's all these different paths to get him out, or a coalition can form. Like there was all this stuff happening then, which they talk about and say, and like kind of put all of this in context. The second item of evidence, there was an email that basically they say it had no date, no identified sender, no clear recipient, and no classification. And yet they used it as proof of this claim. And then the third item of evidence, they say it's backed by reporting, and they say, quote, a liaison along with signal is intelligence, but it doesn't mention Trump specifically, like this piece of evidence. The liaison doesn't mention Trump, and it was all from 2014. So I don't know how it could be used in any like context that would matter for this, like what their argument is. The reporting that they talk about was a post-election review by a U.S. ambassador who quoted a Russia pundit saying that Putin and Trump should, quote, work together like businessmen. So they used that as evidence that Putin wanted to get Trump elected, which that seems like really specious. It's like, what does that claim have to do with anything?
Yeah, well, I mean, a lot of like intelligence gathering, if you actually look at a lot of the intelligence that's gathered, like people will talk about intelligence in this sort of like vague way that like, oh, well, they must have like heard a conversation, like have a file saying something exactly. But a lot of it is just like people kind of conforming different, maybe true things, but that don't necessarily mean anything into a narrative that they want. It's
totally.
Like massaging it.
Totally. And it's like very clear that's what was happening here. So this is all coming from the HPSCI report. I've mentioned that a bunch. That's the House Select Committee on Intelligence. This was a secret report that was done that people had like didn't even know was real up until like this year. It was mostly done at the CIA. They spent over 2,300 hours there reviewing the ICA and all of the different source reports. And it was done like back in 2018, I want to say, but maybe it was a little later than that. The report was completely secret until the ODNI declassified it. And Trump, I think, had to get involved with the declassification because the CIA wouldn't do it. And the report was at Langley the whole time. They couldn't get it to the Hill so that Congress could actually look at it. And there was a big like fight over this. So anyway, that's all that's been released. And the Democrats have come out and said like, oh, Tulsi's just doing this to distract from Epstein, blah, 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 which, is fraud. Look, I love a both and.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's pretty... it's probably almost certainly she's doing this. Like this was released at this point to be like, well, look, okay, so some of the QAnon stuff with like the whole pedophile fighting thing, that was cap. We do admit that. But we are going to arrest Barack Obama. I really do believe that like this is straight up released right now. The validity of any of this aside, like I think the timing of the release is absolutely in order to distract especially Trump's own base from the Epstein stuff.
I mean, it is, it's so funny. There was like even like one kooky like GOP congressman was like, he's trying to get back in his favor. It's like, well, yep, 100%.
Yes.
But it also is like pretty, I mean, it's a little shocking. I guess the DOJ has assembled a strike force.
Yes, yeah. They've got a strike force. I don't know if they want to. They may appoint a special prosecutor.
Yes.
Tulsi has recommended all of these guys, including again Barack Hussein Obama, for prosecution.
Yeah.
And-
I find it all fascinating. Well, one thing I mentioned that is Clapper's name has not been really involved in any of this stuff.
He's ratting.
I don't think so. But I think it was back in it would have been maybe 2017 or 2018 when he had that book that came out, right? But he really pushed back on a lot of the Russia stuff and was really demurred about it. And it's interesting that he's not really involved more in this. But I think there's a lot of elements that are at war here against each other. And I think it's all very fascinating.
Well, I mean, do you guys remember in 2020 when Bernie was doing really well? There was all those headlines all of a sudden in the New York Times, Washington Post, that this is from the Washington Post. Bernie Sanders briefed by U.S. officials that Russia is trying to help his presidential campaign.
It's always the Russians.
And he had to come out and be like, I don't accept your support or whatever, Mr. Putin.
So many dumb choices in that campaign.
I do think, and again, I am anything but a Russiagate expert. I find it, I don't know what. It kills me to read about it. I don't know. It's
tough.
It's tough.
It's a wilderness of mirrors, love.
I know, but it's and there's so many different personalities. I remember Marina Butina and all these people.
No.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough for me to sink my teeth into. And of course, they're bringing it back, but now they're doing a reverse Russiagate to Obama now. And I'm like, dude, what if we're going to have a special prosecutor again?
Yeah.
We're going to have all this stuff again. It's just Russiagate is really the thing that's not going.
But I think it's good because it furthers the Trump to mirror of Biden.
Mm-hmm.
I told you he's Bidening.
Yeah.
Biden started Trumping at one point, so it makes sense that these two crazy guys would meet somewhere in the middle.
So the very next day, that comes out on July 23rd. The very next day, July 24th, the New York Times publishes a story claiming that Trump's name is on a contributor list to the birthday book, Jeffrey Epstein's 50th birthday book, assembled by Ghislaine Maxwell. Alongside, we got some new names here, Alan Greenberg from Bear Stearns and Murray Gell-Mann. So we know obviously both of those guys, longtime friends of Epstein. And so that's not surprising, but it's funny to see them in there. They also found an inscribed copy of Trump's book, Trump, The Art of the Comeback, signed by Trump to Jeffrey Epstein. It says, Jeff, you are the greatest. It's from 1997.
They still liked each other back then.
I know. And, it's pretty clear that somebody just has all of this stuff digitized and they're just giving it to newspapers.
Yeah.
And so this
as they
birthday
should.
book, I know, but I'm the birthday book is coming. We've Chekhov gunned the birthday book. The birthday book is not, it is going to appear on stage.
Here's the question. Is there more in the birthday book that's interesting?
Yes, there is. So the Wall Street Journal on July 24th publishes a follow-up to their July 23rd story about the birthday book. And this has the revelation that there's a letter from Bill Clinton in there.
Okay, I'm going to read this. It's reassuring, isn't it? To have lasted as long, across all the years of learning and knowing, adventures and illegible word, and also to have your childlike curiosity, the drive to make a difference, and the solace of friends. What the fuck is that?
What is that?
What does that mean?
It's
That's more inscrutable than the enigma.
It's reassuring, isn't it, to have lasted as long across all the years of learning and knowing, adventures and illegible word, child fucking.
Yeah, pedophilia.
Pedophilia. And also to have your childlike curiosity, the drive to make a difference, and the solace of friends. What are you saying?
To have lasted as long is such a fucking weird way to say that.
50?
It's not that old.
Not that
You know
old.
what, though? 50 was older in 97 than it is today.
It was the new 40 back then. It's the new 30 now.
Okay.
Liz taking this
I
seriously.
don't think, yeah, I don't think that's right.
Listeners,
I
if you
think
can only,
40 is
Liz
the
like,
new 30 now.
40 is the
but
new
that's
30.
now.
That's now.
But that's because, of longevity science
That's true. Yeah.
and Botox.
They also mentioned that Leon Black is in it. It says the article says the submission with Black's name and a handwritten poem with a rhyme scheme. The poem included the acronym VFPC with an asterisk that said it stood for Vanity Fair Poster Child, a reference to a magazine profile of Epstein that was in the works. Now, if you remember from the first Wall Street Journal article about the birthday book, Alan Dershowitz also mentions a Vanity Fair piece that he was able to get not only the focus off of Epstein, but onto, I believe, Bill Clinton. And so I'm assuming this is the Vicky Ward piece that sort of famously got poo-pooed by Graydon Carter there. But it's kind of interesting to see the behind the scenes. This must have been a big deal. He was telling all his friends that he was glad it got taken down. Now, Black's included a poem as well. And could you read this out?
Blonde, red, or brunette, spread out geographically. With this net of fish, Jeff's now the old man and the sea.
And it was signed.
That's a terrible poem.
What?
Well, that's a portion of the poem, guys.
Oh.
It's a portion of the poem.
Where's the rest of the poem?
I don't know.
Why wouldn't you publish the full poem?
Maybe the rest of the poem was
This is
too
why I
body.
fucking
too
hate
body for a family newspaper like the New York
journalists.
Times. No,
Publish
publish the full
the poem.
Publish the full poem.
Come on.
It was signed Love and Kisses, Leon.
Of course these assholes are Hemingway guys.
Yeah, well, okay. Ernest Hemingway has nothing to do with this. He's a good writer. He is. And a lot of people could learn to maybe write a little less. So this is from the article. Black said he met Epstein around 1996 and paid him for tax and estate planning, which we've covered a lot. He has said he regretted having any involvement with Epstein. Apollo, which is Leon Black's company, Apollo said in 2021 that a legal review found Black paid Epstein a total of $158 million from 2012 to 2017, including $10 million for Epstein's charity, and found no evidence that Black was involved in Epstein's criminal activities. Of course,
Yeah.
you just paying him $158 million for just some advice that he could have presumably gotten from accountants. I think obviously there's probably some money laundering.
Yeah, I
going on.
think, Epstein was doing a little bit of different kind of work for him.
So also included in the birthday book is, and I quote from the New York Times piece, a letter from the current UK ambassador to the United States, Peter Mandelson, including a photo of whiskey in a tropical island and referring to Epstein as my best pal.
that is literally the current UK ambassador to the US.
Yes, that is the
We
Labor
did an episode about him.
Labor Party grandee, friend of Keir Starmer, Peter Mandelson, the UK ambassador to the United States. So what do we have here? We have one ex-president, one current president, Peter Mandelson, Leon Black. I mean, it's just like you have all of the, again, even if you're like an Epstein sort of minimalist, it is crazy that all these guys were just like hanging out with this dude who, by all accounts, was surrounded by 15-year-old girls at all times.
I love this. A spokesman for Mandelson declined to comment. In 2023, Mandelson told the Journal that he, quote, very much regrets ever having been introduced to Epstein. I'm like, bro, the introduction was not the problem.
No.
It was, a lot of people were introduced to Epstein. You hung out with him all the time.
Yes. So there's also a letter from Vera Wang, the fashion designer, who I don't know
That's so
much
funny.
about.
No?
No.
Bridal, for the most part. Famous for the bridal.
Child bridal.
No, I mean, well,
Vera Wang joked about putting Epstein on The Bachelor and suggested they go on a shopping trip. Maybe to Gap Kids.
that would have been fucking crazy if they put him on The Bachelor.
He'd be like too old.
That
too
just
old.
imagine. And nobody knew about Epstein. He ended up being on this season of The Bachelor.
Well, he was
And
called
then-
New York's most eligible bachelor.
I
at one point.
know. They should have done it.
So the article goes on to say several digital copies of the album have been created. Pages have been reviewed by Justice Department officials who investigated Jeffrey Epstein and Maxwell years ago, according to people familiar with the matter. The album is part of Jeffrey Epstein's estate. So, all right, two things here. We had said in a previous episode on this that we thought this came from Maureen Comey, and I still am not ruling that out. Or like one of the fired SDNY or FBI people.
Or someone under her or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. Now I'm like, maybe this came from the Epstein estate.
Why would they be doing that?
I don't know. I don't know. I mean, we don't know what's happening here behind the scenes. But the Epstein estate definitely has it. And, you know, Darren Indyke and Richard Kahn, Epstein's lawyers who control the estate, if you were listening to this, release the birthday book. You know this thing is going to come out here sometime. But if you please, we want the entire birthday book. Every letter, every body poem, every picture that was drawn, every picture that was taken, we want it out there.
I'm like, how big do you think it is? In my head, it's like a big 90s, like puffy album.
Me too. Yeah. I think it is kind of like that. I think it's like a large, almost like a photo album.
Yeah, like oversized, kind of like.
It's leather bound.
Yeah, that's what I imagine.
It's a little.
In my head, it's like a little more like scrapbooky.
Yeah, but I think it's probably a little bit fancier than that.
Sure.
All right, so that was July 24th. That was a crazy 2 days for Donald Trump, huh? Now we're going to go back in time a little bit further, but we're going to go forward in time after that. So back to June 11th, and I think this is important. J.D. Vance and his beautiful Hindu wife, Usha Vance, visit Rupert Murdoch.
I don't think she's that pretty.
He's 94.
Yes.
They visit Rupert Murdoch and Lachlan
Lachlan.
Lachlan.
Like a White Lotus ass name.
Murdoch at the Murdoch's massive Montana ranch on June 11th. I think I already said June 11th, but I'm repeating it. All right. So that happened then. And there was a lot of, I think, and I was trying to figure this out because I kept reading that J.D. Vance visited him twice, that he visited him back in June and then he went there like a few days before the
What do you
Wall
think he
Street Journal.
did?
And he was only there for like 4 hours.
Yeah, I mean, the man's 95, like 94, right? 95? What are you
Yes.
he's only got like 5 minutes where he's lucid,
Maybe
probably.
he was giving him the birthday book.
Or like something else, like Murdoch.
Fentanyl?
No, like, I don't know, some sort of weird
Force.
satanic thing.
Oh, like to live long one more year, Rupert, before your libtard family gets control of everything. But so JD Vance and Usha go there. Maybe he's like, Usha, show him your titties. And she had to obey. But I would never make you do that, Usha. Then on July 13th, the ancient 94-year-old Rupert Murdoch was with Donald Trump at the FIFA World Cup final in New Jersey, alongside the beautiful, busty blonde Pam Bondi, the inscrutable Kristi Noem, and, of course, the homosexual and incestual Tomothy Brady.
Tomothy Brady?
Tomothy Brady. Tom Brady.
I always want to call her Kristi Neom.
Kristi Neom. Yeah.
That's how Neom. You know, I went to a bunch of the club games. It was so fun.
I know you did. You did, and you love. It's crazy that you love soccer. That feels a bit.
I love sports.
You do just love a display of athleticism.
Yeah, that's true. But I do love soccer, of course.
What ones don't you like?
I like baseball in person
Yeah,
because of the hot dogs and the sun. But I don't love watching baseball on TV. It kind of makes me want to blow my brains out.
a bit slow.
It's a bit slow.
It's a bit slow.
But I like everything else pretty much.
Then, of course,
Tennis, basketball, soccer, football.
Hockey?
I have never been to a hockey game, but I heard it's really fun. That's an in-person one where it's like really chaos, crazy. But it's so cold.
Then, of course, Rupert Murdoch betrays Donald Trump by publishing in the Wall Street Journal that he wrote a body poem to Jeffrey Epstein in Jeffrey Epstein's 50th birthday book.
So, but Trump reached out to Murdoch to get the story killed.
Yeah.
Now, is
yeah.
that why JD Vance went there?
So, I mean, again, JD Vance went there in June.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, I don't think so. And I'm like,
Yeah.
also, I feel like you could call. I don't know if you need to like send JD. And it's a little more impactful for you to go. And
Yeah,
be like,
for sure.
Don't publish this.
But Trump doesn't want to kiss the ring. But yeah, totally.
I know, but JD is like, that's no one's like.
Maybe
saying
that's the
JD.
warm up. Maybe that's like he's like sussing out the situation.
Yeah, go JD, you go get him hard.
Or he's
I'll come
just
and
like,
jerk
we
him
need more
off."
money for, you know.
Israel.
Yeah, I was going to say.
I should note, and this is, I didn't really know where to put this, but I should note that Tim Dillon, technically a coworker of ours, being a annoying podcaster, claims on his show that he had dinner with JD Vance and like 4 other people recently.
Who are the 4 other people?
I don't know.
Did he
Gotta
say?
be- yeah, I mean, what?
That's what I want to know. Who are the 4 other people?
Let's see. Peter Thiel. Who's the other guy from PayPal that's like got kicked out of Founders Fund for
Oh, yeah.
that guy? Keith Rabois. But yeah, no, he says that.
Group chat dinner.
I know. It is probably almost certainly a group chat dinner. Yes. And he says that JD Vance was like, oh, yeah, it's all those 10,000 images that we had on Epstein's computer. That was all commercial child pornography.
Do you believe that?
I don't believe that.
I know. I was thinking about that, which I don't like thinking about. And it doesn't actually fit the bill to me.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. I don't think that.
Commercial child pornography? That doesn't seem right.
It doesn't feel like Epstein.
Yeah.
It doesn't. Yeah, I agree. I agree.
I don't know how to like fully explain that, but I genuinely think it was like, yeah, that I've never thought that actually.
Yeah.
I always thought it was all of the different girls, his girls, I mean.
Yeah, I mean,
Ugh,
there's
I hate how I said
mention
that.
that
You know
had,
what I
there's
mean.
some, again, they were very vague in that memo that the DOJ put out about exactly what what images there were. I mean, they mentioned a ton of like child pornography or
Right.
pornographic images. But they're very vague over like the other images that Epstein had. And
But they
videos
would have
and
said
stuff.
that at the trial because they mentioned all of the different CDs and the hard drives.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I don't understand. And they even like referenced photos on some of the CDs.
Yeah. Yeah.
So why would they not say, in addition to a bunch of commercial child pornography, like wouldn't we have heard about that before?
I don't know.
It doesn't seem right to me.
I think Tim Dillon will get to the bottom of all of this.
He should, yeah.
Trump, I know Tim Dillon, if you're listening to this, you really gotta, first of all, get JD we gotta get him on Wegovy. You know what I'm telling you? We gotta let him lose a couple of LBs. But because I think it feels like bullying when people make fun of the face. But we gotta figure this out.
He Wegovied for the election.
Did Wegovy a little bit for the election. So getting back to Rupert Murdoch, Trump is now suing Rupert Murdoch. And to put this in a little bit of perspective, Trump has sued a ton of news organizations in the past 5 years. Famously, he sued CBS News in 60 Minutes for editing the Kamala Harris interview, claiming it was interfering in the election. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
So I actually was watching the edited and unedited clips for my own edification a couple of days ago when I was putting this together. And it's funny because her like big flub and like the big edit was actually in answer to a question about Benjamin Netanyahu and like why won't Benjamin Netanyahu do what Joe Biden asks of him? And she gave 2 different answers, both of which are essentially nonsense, but one of which is nonsense that she continues at for minute after minute after minute after minute. And sometimes like today, like when we're doing the show today, I feel a little bit tongue-tied because I didn't really get good sleep last night. And the Sprite that I drank ain't kicking in. But she is like in this sort of circular, it's like she's speaking herself into prison that
I
she'll
love
never
it.
break out of.
She's so good at it.
She's so good at it.
It's incredible. It really is like, I feel like I tried to do it before and I would need, it's like, it's so hard to get to where she goes
Yeah.
because
It's tough to follow her.
it's just, that woman, you know, she charts her own path.
That's her own thing. And she's certainly faded from the spotlight, huh?
And then there's her fucking husband. What's his name again?
Doug Emhoff.
He, that motherfucker, he's like fucking making, his firm is like one of the firms that made one of those big deals to help Trump with like free legal services. It's like fucking $100 million in free legal services. He's a partner. And it's like, wait a second. So you're going to have fucking Kamala Harris, who they're going to just like anoint governor once we get Fear Newsom in the White House or whatever it is. And she's going to talk all this shit about like, oh, I'm here to fight Trump. I'm going to be the bulwark against Trump. And like, I'm the, the progressive prosecutor, whatever she ad-libs in her own little like spirally way. While her husband's firm is like providing him free legal advice, not even free legal advice, like services.
You got me, baby. I mean, that's crazy.
It's so crazy.
It's
the Democrats, everybody.
I know. Well, it's so, I mean, that I think that you bring up his law firm coming to this sort of agreement with Trump. This happened in like quick succession with a lot of different both media and legal firms right after Trump became president. I mean, it was the Amazon, I think it was Amazon, right?
Yeah,
they did the
yeah.
Melania documentary.
Yeah.
It's obviously just like a way to give
It's just all
like
pay
free
for
shit to Melania Trump and money.
It's all just bribes. It's a fucking criminal racket in the White House.
Well, CBS was sued by Trump for editing that interview for $20 billion.
Mm-hmm.
They settled for $16 million. And as a sort of added kink to all this, CBS, which is owned by Paramount, is of course, and this is in the news a lot lately, merging with Skydance to form Skydance Media, I think it's going to be called. And they need approval from the government to do so. So I'm pretty sure there's some behind the scenes stuff. Cancel Colbert. Finally caught up with him.
Yeah.
That,
because of no Asian hate.
Stop Asian hate. Finally caught up with Colbert. He's off the airways. I mean, the show fucking, it stinks, right? So it's...
I miss the late night show.
Yeah. But Trump is now also saying he expects 20 million in PSAs from CBS. And there's some other rumors that maybe Barry Weiss might be brought on board to provide ideological guidance for the newsroom.
Well, that's because they were also saying that CBS was interested in buying the Free Press.
For like $250 million. I mean, that's basically like...
You know what? I'll say this.
That'll feed
Businesswoman
Barry
to
for a
businesswoman.
What?
I'll say this. That's pretty incredible. I mean, you're doing like fascist Israeli propaganda, but like, holy shit, $250 million
I just don't understand
for a
how-
fucking Substack?
I mean, dude, and I read the Free
Shit.
Press. I read the Free Press. It is like 90% just like stopantisemitism.com stuff,
right.
laundered through some, 24-year-old bimbo.
They have like 155,000 subscribers, paying subscribers, but it's like millions of free.
Yeah.
But I was like, damn, that's worth $250 million.
I know, but I'm like, dude, a lot of their shit is paywalled. So it's like the millions of free subscribers are reading like one article in 10.
Still,
I know.
there's too much money. We got to, Powell's got to raise.
So
Too much money out there.
Trump also sued ABC and / Disney, it's the same company, because George Stephanopoulos said that he raped, what's her name, Jean Carroll?
That's right.
When he was actually just found liable for sexual assault.
The way you said that made it almost sound like George is the one who raped.
George Stephanopoulos admitted to rape, and Trump was like, no, you didn't do that. You take that back right now.
You didn't build that.
Disney, and so
God.
Disney gave Trump's presidential library $15 million. And I think Facebook actually gave the Trump presidential library $33 million as a way to apologize for suspending his Facebook account after January 6th.
It's all so absurd.
Well, there is no presidential library.
I know.
It's a website.
I know. Well, that's very green.
Yeah, I guess that's true. Trump also sued the New York Times and married Trump, his niece, about a story involving his tax records. I know he lost the New York Times case, but I think he's still suing Mary Trump. And he's also suing the Pulitzer Prize Board for awarding a prize or maybe a couple of prizes to some Russiagate like stories or investigations or whatever.
I want to say, I think that I find this quality, the desire and drive to litigation, incredibly repulsive.
Yeah. In general?
Yeah. I don't like a man who's like, I'm just going to sue everything.
No, solve your problems the old-fashioned way.
Yeah. A conversation and a gun.
Yeah, or hit the guy's wife with your car.
No.
Leave him broken.
I really like find it, there's something so, I really hate this like the American like lawsuit culture. I'm just going to sue everyone. I'm going to get I hate it. I hate civil litigation. I hate people that fucking, I don't know. I find it like so unbecoming.
Could you imagine if we lived in the UK though, and we could get sued into apologizing for stuff we say in the show?
Yeah, I know. That's what, we can never go there.
Have to be like,
I wondered about us doing a show there, and then I was like, I don't know if we can.
No. Because I think it's like they have like, I will say, God bless the First Amendment. I'll be repealing it day one when I'm in power.
Sure, of course.
Or modifying it heavily. I mean, it just will be, I won't be repealing the First Amendment. I'll be repealing the Constitution whole cloth and replacing it with sort of an ultra constitution, or the Iron Constitution, obviously we'll be calling it. But God bless it in terms of us being able to have jobs, right?
Yeah.
Because this is all parody shit that we do. I mean, this comedy show that we're doing anyways. Trump is now suing, again, Rupert Murdoch, Wall Street Journal, and the two reporters who wrote the story about his birthday book for $10 billion in a Miami
it's so
court.
absurd.
I know, $10 billion's a lot.
He has so much money from crypto. Like, what do they need?
So the lawsuit,
What do they need?
The lawsuit is, I read it. It's interesting. It says, I'm going to read from part of it now. Maybe you can read the rest. But it says, on July 17th, 2025, defendants Khadija Safdar and Joseph Palazzolo co-authored and published an article largely focused on President Trump that falsely claimed that he authored, drew, and signed a card to wish the late and utterly disgraced Jeffrey Epstein a happy 50th birthday. To attempt and inextricably link President Trump to Epstein, defendants Safdar and Palazzolo falsely claim that the salacious language of the letter, interesting, is contained within a hand-drawn naked woman, which was created with a heavy marker. Worse, defendants Safdar and Palazzolo falsely represent as fact that President Trump drew the naked woman's breasts and signed his name Donald below her waist, and then in quotes, mimicking pubic hair.
Perplexingly, however, the quote letter is a quote typewritten note styled as an imaginary conversation between Trump and Epstein, written in the third person. Indeed, defendants Safdar and Palazzolo provide a series of quotes from the non-existent letter, claiming that the letter was written in third person, beginning with a voiceover interluding a conversation, followed by a purported dialogue between President Trump and Epstein, as if they were characters in a play. On the one hand, defendants Safdar and Palazzolo falsely pass off as fact that President Trump in 2003 wrote, drew, and signed this letter. And on the other hand, defendants Safdar and Palazzolo failed to attach the letter, failed to attach the alleged drawing, failed to show proof that President Trump authored or signed any such letter, and failed to explain how this purported letter was obtained. The reason for those failures is because no authentic letter or drawing exists. Defendants concocted this story to malign President Trump's character and integrity and deceptively portray him in a false light. Now, I want to say this. I agree with their point. They should have published the letter.
I totally agree.
Why didn't they publish the letter?
I think that I think that this letter will be published.
But it's insane that they're just literally saying it doesn't exist, because the Wall Street Journal it obviously exists.
Yeah, so that's something I want to bring up.
Making it up.
Trump is still sticking with his story. He's wavered a little bit now, but he's mostly stuck to his story that the letter just plainly does not exist. The letter is that the reporters just made it up that this exists.
Which is, I think Trump, nightmare client.
Can you imagine?
Can you imagine you're a lawyer? You're fucking, you're billing like crazy because it's all part of this deal.
Yeah.
And you're sitting there being like, okay, well, there's a lot of ways we could probably handle this. And there's like, we can do this and this. And he's like, there's no letter.
There's no letter. And you're like, well, Donald, I think that they probably
there's no
some letter.
And we're sticking with the idea that there's no letter.
There's no letter. And now, well, he said now that it's like, well, if there is a letter, I didn't write it,
Right. But that's the obvious, obviously that's the first line of attack. Not that there isn't a letter.
In your lawsuit, you're saying there's no letter. So whether you're coming out now and saying there might be a letter,
Right.
well, that seems to undermine your lawsuit a little bit.
That's what I'm saying.
There is a letter.
There's a letter.
There's a letter. We know
Here's what I
there's a
say.
letter.
Show me the letter.
Show me the letter.
Show me the letter.
Show me the letter.
And stop being fucking pussies and publish the fucking letter.
Publish the fucking letter. Trump, but I just don't see, especially this is like a defamation libel lawsuit, which already is really
Insane,
tough to win.
yeah.
And you're undercutting yourself here because all they have to do is publish the letter. And then, I mean,
Why do you think they didn't publish the letter?
I don't know.
Do you think that they were like, oh, we're the Wall Street Journal. We're not putting boobs in the paper.
No, I think that they would. The Wall Street Journal has a free the nipple policy. I don't know. I mean, I'm wondering if they were like lent the letter on.
Like they could only see it, but they couldn't make copies of it.
I mean, that happens sometimes.
Sure, absolutely.
But now we're seeing that there's multiple digital copies of this that are floating around. I mean, sometimes, the digital things can have like a fingerprint on it or whatever. We can know where they're from, but like
in the metadata.
in the metadata, I mean, I don't think that would be the case if you just like took a screenshot of it and put it back up. But I don't know. Maybe it has some evidence marking or something on it that would like the government could investigate
Sure.
exactly where it came from.
Yeah.
I don't know, but I think that you guys got to publish this letter pretty soon because, or maybe they're waiting for the time when it's going to embarrass Trump most. I don't know, but if the letter exists, then this lawsuit I think is in a little bit of trouble, and Donald Trump might have to eat a bit of crow, but I don't think he actually will.
This is my like random question that I've been thinking about because I was looking at a bunch of his doodles, which I really do love. I
Yeah.
will say they're great doodles. He's a great doodler. What kind of marker is he using?
A thick, fat marker.
But what is that? Like an Expo? I don't think it's a Sharpie
I could see a Sharpie. I think that there was
because it would bleed so much through.
I feel like in one of the articles it said that Trump likes using a thick marker because it like disguises his bad handwriting.
Interesting.
I don't know. Maybe I might have just made that up.
Okay.
I
I don't
don't-
know if that's true.
I mean,
I don't know if it would disguise his bad handwriting.
I have heard that, and sounds like such a Mueller she wrote kind of thing, but I've heard this on very good authority that he kind of can't read.
No, someone else said that
Yeah.
he has a hard time reading.
Yeah.
I wonder if it's an eyesight thing though, and not like you think it's like a Jordan Catalano.
It's a Jordan Catalano.
What? We just talked about this. Jordan Catalano can't read.
Who's Jordan Catalano?
From My So-Called Life, Jared Leto.
Oh, yeah. Maybe. I never saw it. But I've
He was
heard this from
illiterate.
somebody who has been near him trying to read. He can't read. And
Interesting.
he skips over words if he like doesn't want to read them. Which
That's kind of a power move.
I know, this is kind of a power move. Like, I don't need that one. This is interesting. They're picking specific sentences from the article that they say are defamatory. So this is a part of the lawsuit. It says the article also contains the following statements that are implicitly defamatory. And so I think we should switch off reading here. I'll read the ones that are defamatory and you read the ones that are not defamatory. And so we'll go through. Jeffrey Epstein's friends sent him body letters for a 50th birthday album. One was from Donald Trump.
It was Jeffrey Epstein's 50th birthday, and Ghislaine Maxwell was preparing a special gift to mark the occasion.
She turned to Epstein's family and friends. One of them was Donald Trump.
So that's defamatory.
Yeah.
Okay, I see. The album had poems, photos, and greetings from business people, academics, Epstein's former girlfriends, and,
Childhood pals.
according to documents reviewed by the journal and people familiar with them. Why is that
I
defamatory?
don't understand why is like they're saying before family and friends, and now they're saying business people, academics, Epstein's former girlfriends. That's all okay. But childhood pals, those two words are defamatory, implicitly defamatory.
Are they suggesting that Trump and Epstein were childhood friends?
I mean, it seems to be that they're suggesting that the Wall Street Journal might be suggesting that. But it's
don't think
very
anyone would ever
clear from
suggest that.
No, it's very clear that that's not the case from here.
When he turned 50, Epstein was already wealthy from managing Wexner's fortune and was
Socializing with Trump.
Clinton and other powerful people.
He often entertained at his Manhattan townhouse, Palm Beach, Florida home, and private Caribbean island.
I see. So they're saying that's implicit that Trump has been to those locations.
Yeah, which I don't know. The lawsuit goes on to say that X, formerly known as Twitter, is the internet's watering hole. Did our feet just touch under the table?
I don't think so. But put your
Oh my God, you don't have
put
shoes,
shoes on.
Yeah, I don't have shoes on. No.
Wow.
It's hot. It's 100 degrees, guys.
Not in here, babe.
Yeah, but out there, and so my feet know that. The lawsuit goes on to say that X is the internet's watering hole.
I don't like
That's,
that.
you shouldn't say that.
No.
That's also like, come on. That's
And
not
then-
what we say.
Nobody's watering there.
It goes on to point out that several prominent personalities posted the Wall Street Journal article, such as Colin Rugg.
Who's that?
That's like a guy that Elon Musk responds to.
He always posts like someone was shot and he uses an asterisk, so I always read it as someone was shit.
Yeah.
I don't know why he does that.
He's just like a right-wing viral news
Okay.
guy. The Lincoln Project, Keith Olbermann, and Ken Klippenstein.
And TrueAnon, former TrueAnon guest, Glenn Klippenstein.
Klippenstein posted it.
That's how you have to say it. So it sounds like Epstein.
And so this is it says the statements were published by defendants with actual malice, oppression, and fraud in that they were aware at the time of the falsity of the publication and thus made said publications in bad faith out of disdain and ill will directed towards plaintiffs without any regard for the truth. So that is, again, we have a very high bar for proving like defamation or libel here in the
Thank
US.
God.
And that's what they are saying. They're saying you have to basically be like someone knowingly lied in order to to degrade the perception of another figure.
Well, I mean, it's also like usually when you're the only people who can afford to file these sorts of things are people with unlimited budgets or people who are getting all of their law services for free because of extortion, because they're in the fucking White House. Like, he doesn't give a fuck that this probably won't go anywhere.
Yeah,
He's not fucking paying for it.
I think it was really because I think this was filed the very next day after the Wall Street Journal report came out. And so it was probably him just like fucking sue them because in his head, he knows that if he sues them, that'll mean at least some people will be like, well, he wouldn't be suing them if he wasn't right. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You can't just not sue them because then it's like, well, maybe it's real. But I think it's tough because this seems like, and again, I don't know about the law and I hope I never will have to. But I'm like, isn't this like this kind of thing that gets your case tossed out with prejudice? If you like are like filing a case that is fucking false. I don't know.
So the other big news to round this out has to do with Ghislaine Maxwell. The Lady Maxwell.
RealGhislaine.com, my number one bookmarked website, has become very active again in recent weeks. And before we actually talk about this,
Wait, can you remind people what the website is?
it's RealGhislaine.com. It's Ghislaine Maxwell's website. It's like the Ghislaine Maxwell Innocence Project website.
Yes, it's run by like her brother,
Yeah.
some of her lawyers.
I kind of like the layout of it. It's like very simple and kind of
Yeah.
classic.
It's available in English, German, Spanish, French, and Hebrew.
I
and
was
Italian.
looking. So we've talked about the website before. I think we've even talked about the FAQ before. I don't know if we talked about this before. There's a FAQ question in here. Is Ghislaine still reading a lot of books? What are some of her recent favorites? And it answers, Ghislaine keeps herself informed about what's going on in the world by tuning in when she can to the BBC World Service. She also continues to read voraciously. Below are some of her most recent books. So the first one is Fathoms, which is the world of the whale, which makes sense. She was into ocean conservation. But there's some kind of ones that maybe I wouldn't advertise on there. There's a lot of romance novels, including the first one is Lessons in Chemistry. Chemist Elizabeth Zott is not your average woman. In fact, Elizabeth Zott would be the first to point out that there is no such thing as an average woman. But it's the early 1960s, and her all-male team at Hastings Research Institute takes a very unscientific view of equality, except for one. Calvin Evans, the lonely, brilliant, Nobel Prize nominated grudge holder who falls in love with of all things, her mind. True chemistry results.
They made this a TV show. This was a TV show. On
Was it really?
Yeah, I think it was on Apple, but I'm not sure. Someone famous was in it. It's not surprising that she's reading stuff. She's lonely.
I know. She's reading also The Price of Peace, Money, Democracy, and the Life of John Maynard Keynes.
No, she's not.
Shantaram, which is also, according to his sticker on the cover, about a now is a TV show on Apple TV.
And she's just watching Apple TV.
I think she might just be watching Apple TV in there. And this is what I really wanted to point out. She's reading The Guncle by Stephen Rowley.
What is that?
It's an NPR Book of the Year.
Gunkle?
So you know what a gunkle is?
No,
It's a
gay uncle. Oh, sure,
yeah,
okay.
Yeah. I mean, but
I prefer the Lindy gay uncle to the modern gunkle.
Patrick, or gay Uncle Patrick, Gupp for short, has always loved his niece.
Gup?
Gupp.
Ted Gupp.
Ted Gupp. I know. Wow. Patrick, or gay Uncle Patrick, Gupp for short, has always loved his niece, Maisie, and nephew, Grant. That is,
Maisie?
he loves spending time with them when they come out to Palm Springs for week-long visits. I do have a friend with a gunkle in Palm Springs. Or when he heads home to Connecticut for the holidays. But in terms of caretaking and relating to two children, no matter how adorable, Patrick is honestly overwhelmed. So when tragedy strikes and Maisie and Grant lose their mother and Patrick's brother has a health crisis of his own, Patrick finds himself suddenly taking on the role of primary guardian. Despite having a set of gunkle rules ready to go, Patrick has no idea what to expect, having spent years barely holding on after the loss of his great love, a somewhat stalled acting career, and a lifestyle not so suited to a 6 and 9-year-old. Quickly realizing that parenting, even if temporary, isn't solved with treats and jokes, Patrick's eyes are open to a new sense of responsibility and the realization that, sometimes, even being larger than life means you're unfailingly human. Ghislaine, I know you can relate to that.
It's book 1 of 2. There's 2 gunkles.
I think it's a pretty hit book.
Yeah, it's got 4.1 on Goodreads, 184,000 ratings.
So she is also recommending an article by Michael Tracy in Compact Magazine about...
Some of the shit he was saying was so fucking crazy. Like,
Wait,
I'm like, what is he reading and where is he getting his information? Because he said something that really bothered me where he was like, the estate has like paid out all of this money to the so-called victims. I mean, there's so many things that he was saying that was like so offensive, but, and he said, including JP Morgan, where they were targeted simply because Epstein was a client.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, that's literally not what happened.
No, I mean,
for someone who's so like pedantic about so many facts, it's like, are you just getting shit from Alan Dershowitz? Because like, that's literally not what the suit against JP Morgan was about at all.
Yeah. I mean, Tracy is one of those guys who I think gives off the like appearance of a pedant. Well, not the appearance, but you know, like he gives off, he sort of like talks and writes like a pedant, but it sort of disguises the fact that like sometimes he doesn't really know what he's talking about.
I mean, I like appreciate him as a like kind of like interloper for a lot of things. Like I think he's very kind of funny sometimes, but I'm not saying I agree with him even most of the time, but this was like really annoying.
Yeah.
Well, it was just like, you don't know what you're talking about.
I know about this and you're wrong.
Yeah. You don't know what you're talking about.
But you know, it's, you don't engage. You're writing compact. I'm good. I'm busy that day. But it's now posted in PDF form on Ghislaine's website. So the big news is that Ghislaine was interviewed by the Department of Justice, Deputy AG Todd Blanche, who is Trump's lawyer, former personal defense attorney, and Paul Manafort's personal defense attorney, and in fact left his own big law firm to represent Trump in the 2024 New York trial that Trump had to undergo. He is now deputy AG at Justice, and he went down to Tallahassee and interviewed Ghislaine on the 24th and 25th, I think for 9 hours.
Oh my God.
So she was granted partial immunity and, according to her lawyer, answered questions about 100 different individuals, which she said, you know, obviously her lawyer said she answered very truthfully. We don't know at all what she said. Obviously, the government hasn't said anything. I'm sure they will at some point because they have to. They're really scrambling now to like come up with something.
To make it look like they're doing stuff.
Exactly.
I would say Todd Blanche in Tallahassee sounds like a Tennessee Williams character.
Yes, it really does. It really does.
It's so funny. This whole Ghislaine thing that's getting floated, just like her being, I'm like, what are they asking her about that they haven't asked her about before?
Well, I mean, I think I don't know because it seems like because when you're with the trial we covered, right? Very, very limited in scope.
Yes.
And basically
by
like,
design.
By design, exactly. And didn't like really involve too many extraneous people.
Right.
And so, I mean, maybe they're just like, what does Bill Clinton's penis look like? You know what I mean? Like it's.
I'm just like, I don't believe it. I don't know.
Well, I mean, I think the thing to keep in mind with all of this is that Ghislaine Maxwell right now has an appeal to the Supreme Court that is like in the works. That's like that she is currently appealing to the Supreme Court to hear her case after it was denied. Now, the Department of Justice's stance on this was they were asking the Supreme Court to deny that appeal. Now, I don't know if there's some kind of deal that's being worked out now where they're like, we'll back off on that.
But that's fucking crazy. Just to to spill the beans on what? To like save their reputation?
Yes.
There's so many other things they can do besides like literally getting Ghislaine Maxwell out of jail. It makes no sense.
So I would have told you like a couple of years ago that there's no chance Ghislaine Maxwell will be pardoned. My bracebet.com odds on that have shifted.
But pardoned is different than commuted.
Commuted or clemency or any, yeah.
Those are two different things.
Well, let me rephrase that. I would have told you that there's no chance she would be let out of prison early due to intervention by the executive. I am not 100% on that anymore.
I think it would be, how do you say, and I know that like News Nation or whatever the fuck it is like trying to float all this stuff like she was a victim. They're all these right-wing guys are like trying all these different angles. But it's like, how do you say like, oh, Jeffrey Epstein was involved in this like insane blackmail operation, which is why we have the name of all of these powerful people, which we could only get through Ghislaine Maxwell, who was also involved, and yet now we're letting her go free. We had her in jail, but now she's gone.
Now she's gone.
It makes no sense.
Yeah, but
talk about enigmas.
You can't underestimate. Trump really needs to get out of trouble, right?
But I don't think that gets you out of any trouble.
I don't think it does either.
Just fucking release more files.
I know. Well, that would have been the solution in the first place, but he's acting so squirrely and suspicious that I don't know. I'm just saying I don't think it's very likely, but I'm saying it's not off the table anymore.
Yeah.
It's not off the table anymore. So her appeal to the Supreme Court, so her whole thing, I think we've talked about it like briefly before. It's always been like a real crazy Hail Mary, was that the NPA, the non-prosecution agreement that Jeffrey Epstein signed in 2007 with the Department of Justice, the unindicted co-conspirators that were granted immunity, which she would be one of them, that should have stood in the case of her arrest, right? So basically, her arrest was a complete railroad, and they tried to basically her whole take, which is also the take of certain influencers that were handed the Epstein Tranche Volume 1 by Pam Bondi back in February, is that she is being prosecuted for Jeffrey Epstein's crimes.
Yeah,
right. When in reality, she was pretty much directly prosecuted for certain instances of assisting Jeffrey Epstein in his crimes and crimes that she committed with Jeffrey Epstein. And only a very few of those too. So she has been appealing to the Supreme Court, and she's lost one, and I think she's lost. Yeah, she did lose one, and now she's appealing again, and I think it's her last chance for that. And so she is like really, I mean, one has to take whatever she says in these interviews, that cannot be discounted. This is happening with the backdrop of Ghislaine Maxwell, like being like, if I play this right, I might not spend the rest of my life in prison.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
Like this has to be the best news Ghislaine Maxwell has gotten in years that this all is happening.
And what's also happening is that now the House Oversight Committee is subpoenaing her to come and testify.
Yes. So they claim they saw a story in the Daily Mail saying that she'd be willing to testify before Congress.
I'm like, don't fucking say that.
You don't have to say that.
You don't have to say that. You could just say that you came up with the idea yourself.
Yeah.
Don't say that you read the Daily Mail. You're in fucking Congress.
Well, they sent her a letter which includes this paragraph.
While the department undertakes efforts to uncover and publicly disclose additional information related to your and Mr. Epstein's cases, it is imperative that Congress conduct oversight of the federal government's enforcement of sex trafficking laws generally, and specifically its handling of the investigation and prosecution of you and Mr. Epstein. In particular, the committee seeks your testimony to inform the consideration of potential legislative solutions to improve federal efforts to combat sex trafficking. Are you fucking kidding me? And reform the use of non-prosecution agreements and or plea agreements in sex crime investigations. That's so fucking stupid. So, okay, two things. Well, really just one thing. The non-prosecution agreement that Jeffrey Epstein signed is so unique that it literally says, like, this will never be a thing ever again.
Yeah.
So it's not, there's no reason to use it to inform any decision about future non-prosecution agreements because it's never going to be done again.
The whole point that non-prosecution agreement, like one of the reasons that she was able to be prosecuted when she was, is because they violated the Victims' Rights Act with that specific agreement.
Yes.
Which drew attention to how insane that agreement was and how out of the ordinary that agreement was.
Yes.
Which is one of the reasons that people are so interested in the Jeffrey Epstein case to begin with, because this guy was given an extraordinary deal. An extraordinary deal.
Included, part of the agreement was that all unnamed co-conspirators, people who weren't even named in it, but could potentially be named in the future, could not be prosecuted.
It's absurd.
But so it can never exist again. And so why would you need to speak with her about it makes no sense.
Yeah.
And obviously that's not what they're talking to her about.
Yeah, obviously they want to
But also do they know what they're talking to her about? Because this all seems like a fucking joke to me. Because you have on the one hand this like big populist shaded like a bunch of their voter base being like fucking where's the list and who was involved and we want to see the files and where's all the blackmail and was it Mossad or was it CIA? All this kind of shit. And then, people in Congress and at DOJ and in the White House being like, how do we even fucking respond to this in any kind of way? And then coming up with all of these different like excuses and like, I don't know, rhetorical traps to make it look like they're doing something to appease these people when none of it's like not aligning. And it's like, babe, you're just digging yourself deeper. Like people aren't stupid. They're going to be like, well, why didn't you ask her? Like, did you work for the Israelis or whatever the fuck these people want?
Yeah. Well, yeah. I agree. I think her lawyers are saying that she planned to plead the fifth. Right? To basically not answer any questions.
Right.
But now they're coming out and saying that she will come and answer questions. I mean, they're issuing a subpoena for August 11th. So it's a subpoena.
It's fine.
Subpoena.
Stop saying
subpoenaing her for August 11th. And she is saying that she will come and answer questions as long as they meet her demands. 1, delay the hearing after the Supreme Court hears her appeal, which would mean it would not happen on August 11th.
Right.
2, she wants the questions ahead of time. 3, wants congressional immunity. So I guess immunity is like whatever she says in there.
From Congress? What does that fucking mean? Congressional immunity.
And then 4, clemency from the president.
Yeah, that's a big one.
That's a big one. I mean, I don't think Trump is stupid enough to clement her sentence. But it certainly is something that her lawyers at least think is worth asking for, right? And asking for publicly. I mean, this whole thing is such a circus. I do really want Ghislaine to have to go before Congress and answer questions.
Hell yeah. Let's get her.
Absolutely.
Mrs. Maxwell goes to Washington. Let's put her up there.
I
Put her
know.
on TV.
And I do think that
Also, I want to see what she looks like right now.
I know, because recent pictures are not good. I mean, they're blurry, as in they're not good quality pictures. But I do want her to go up there. And I do think that there should be like a congressional hearings about this, multiple congressional hearings about this. Do I think that the House Oversight Committee will do a good job? No, I don't. But I want this to go. I mean, I hope that at least they maybe delay. I give her like one thing from this, maybe delay the hearing until after the Supreme Court hears her appeal. But like, I don't think she's going to get the immunity. They have already said that she's not going to get the immunity. The Oversight Committee, one of the guys in the Oversight Committee is like, that's not happening. That would also make them look really bad for zero return. I don't think the clemency is going to happen. Maybe the questions ahead of time. And I'm wondering if she's willing to bargain on that and still come answer questions. The thing is, though, she has such incentive now to just say whatever will appeal to specifically President Trump that, like, while I want to see this really bad, it's kind of hard to trust that anything that comes. I mean, it'd be hard to trust anything that comes out of her mouth, anyways, because she has consistently, said that not only she was innocent, but she's also portrayed herself as somewhat of a victim of Jeffrey Epstein's in her own sort of peculiar way. I'm like, let's get this moving, guys. Make some kind of fucking deal with this lady. Not a good deal, but give her some answers or questions ahead of time, and then whatever, delay the hearing and get this show on the road.
Well, wait, before we go, speaking of Congress, this is just a little gossip for the listeners who make it through the whole episode. Do you remember? It wasn't last episode, but it was some episode ago.
Like 2 episodes ago.
Wait, Brace, you said this.
I know, Rokan boy, if you're starting a podcast, easy first guest. Because he'll talk to anybody.
Don't talk to him.
I don't. What does he have to say?
So, doodaloo. Now in future time, meaning, when was this, yesterday?
Yeah.
Can you please read the message you got?
Hi, this is Beep from Rose Team. I hope you're doing well. We're big fans of the podcast and really enjoyed your most recent episode on the Epstein files. So, ladies and gentlemen, am I lying or am I telling the truth? I'm telling the truth.
I mean, look at that.
He comes on podcasts.
The proof is in the pudding.
Proof is in the
Well,
pudding.
he's not coming on this fucking podcast.
I'm sorry, we don't have politicians on. We will have one politician on. If you are the leader of a junta or you're a left-wing colonel planning a coup,
Please hit the tip line.
yes, hit the tip line, but you can come on the show. We'll come talk to you, whatever. We generally do not have politicians on the show. So I'm sorry, Mr. Roger Khanna. Maybe next time.
With that being said, I'm Liz.
My name is Brace.
I'm producer Young Chomsky.
And this has been TrueAnon. And we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Let's go shoot him. Jeffrey Epstein. Let's go shoot him. Jeffrey